It's Monday, and you know what that means. It's also the go-home show of Monday Night Raw, and it's episode 203. Man, what a week. What a week already, I said at 4:31 on a Monday. As I'm driving to softball, I figured it's a good time as any to record another episode of the Sleeper Sports Media Podcast and get over with the start of WrestleMania week. That doesn't feel like WrestleMania week at all. It's been a lackluster build leading up until the past 2 weeks on SmackDown and even on Raw as well, with the Pat McAfee being added to the mix and everything else that's unfolding and all that stuff, everything. Showing the shows on ESPN2 and ESPN Linear, and then the rest on the app and everything else, just TKO and all of it. So we're gonna dive into everything there and not miss a beat with what we have in store for Monday Night Raw tonight. But of course, before we can do that, we have to thank our friends over at No Dirt Sheets for Surfshark VPN, which is how you can watch WrestleMania this weekend, how you can watch Monday Night Raw, NXT, Revenge Week 1, and Friday Night SmackDown, all on Netflix throughout the week. And then, of course, if you don't want to do that and you want to pay the $32 for ESPN, you can always watch on there as well. But of course, if you do the Surfshark VPN, that helps out me. It helps out No Dirt Sheets, and it's just an easier way to watch under one thing. And it's way easier, and you get more bang for your buck at that point with Netflix and Surfshark VPN, everything. But also we have, of course, Content 360. That's how we're able to cross-post, and multi-post to different platforms, different pages, and everything like that. That affiliate link is down below as well. And without further ado, the Monday Night Raw preview for Monday, April 13th, 2026. They did not give us much for this one tonight. We saw Adam Pearce's preview last night during AEW Dynasty. That came out, a mini preview is what he called it. And really, he didn't announce any matches, which is kind of crazy. He announced a lot of appearances for tonight in the Golden One Center in Sacramento, California, which, again, the go-home show of Monday Night Raw ahead of WrestleMania this weekend. Finally, the graphics are out, so, there is no matches advertised. The first thing that we want to talk about, of course, is, again, under one roof, is Roman Reigns and CM Punk. They've, again, kept the same style of building this up and promoting it as this big fight feel, but it just doesn't work that way when they're coming out and saying the same things over and over and over again. They did this last year with Cena and Cody under one roof, like it was some huge big deal. They're doing the same thing with Gunther and Rollins. Literally copy and paste. It is Roman Reigns and CM Punk under one roof. Then it is Seth Rollins and Gunther under one roof. Only their graphic doesn't say under one roof. It's just the description of their segment. Brock Lesnar and Femi will be live tonight on Raw. Shocking that one doesn't say under one roof. Roman Reigns to send message to CM Punk on Final Raw before WrestleMania. So they're doing, it's hilarious that those are the only three things advertised as of right now at 4:35 on Monday night for Monday Night Raw tonight. There's nothing much else to say other than going off of the website with the ticket part of the website for WWE.com, and it tells us that Stephanie Vaquer is scheduled to be there. Rhea Ripley, Jey Uso are all also scheduled to be there. Becky Lynch is scheduled to appear, but as far as the preview, that is it. That's it. The website has three things right now. Their social media channels have put out three things advertised for the Go Home show. Again, no matches added as of right now. No matches advertised. No matches out there. Which is very, very sad. it's so crazy that Adam Pearce said in his mini preview, if that's what we're calling it, that he gives out too much about Monday Night Raw, so that we were complaining about that. Yet, I know here on Sleeper Sports Media, we have been complaining about the fact that they don't post with enough ahead of time, with enough window of when the event's going to start, when it's going to be, where it's going to be, or matches this and segments that, or whatever. It's tough. It's tough whenever they're going to switch it up like that. I know that Kev from Jedi Sports Network is thinking that we could see John Cena tonight to advertise and promote the show, which would be the total opposite way of how they're promoting the show on SmackDown, because, I mean, they're just straight up promoting the show by dropping the ticket prices to sell tickets for night one, and they're doing so by saying that night two sucks, even though night two absolutely has the better card because they have Roman Reigns and CM Punk. But, I mean, they're going to do it however they're going to do it. At the end of the day, that's on them. And if they would just, would have put a title on Roman sooner, I don't think the ticket sales would have been as bad as what they are. Going back to WrestleMania 38, I saw a post, a graphic the other day. WrestleMania 38 had over 75,000 each night, or over 73,000 each night, and then it's gone downhill from there. AT&T Stadium holds way more, obviously, than Allegiant Stadium, but SoFi Stadium was even better than Allegiant Stadium was last year. Lincoln Financial Field was not that much. That was around 40 or 53,000, I think, and last year was like 43 or 42, something like that, something in that ballpark. They need to, if they're going to stick to one location for WrestleMania, it should either be SoFi Stadium or it should be AT&T Stadium. Period. Point blank. Full stop. That is, Allegiant Stadium just isn't doing it for me. It looks cool. Vegas, it looks like it would be fun, but again, why is it always on the West Coast? It's never on the East Coast. They have plenty of stadiums and large arenas that they could choose to hold a WrestleMania at. I mean, I guess not, because it's the Wells Fargo Center and the PPG Paints Arena. They only hold so many. But the Bryce Jordan Center in State College, that would be an awesome place for a Raw or SmackDown before, after WrestleMania. And I can't even think if the last time they were there for a live event, let alone if they've ever been there for a Raw or a SmackDown, or a PLE even as well. But Beaver Stadium hosting WrestleMania would be insane. They would get well over. I would bet they could almost get 150,000 people there if they really, really wanted to. If they really wanted to throw money at Penn State and host WrestleMania there, which I don't think that will ever happen. Same thing with Acrisure Stadium. Pittsburgh won't ever get that opportunity, unlike Philly, which is crazy and diabolical, but nonetheless, it's just wild. It is wild. So Monday Night Raw, of course, is what it is at this point. That's where we're at with what we have to expect for Monday Night Raw tonight. For the preview, Gunther and Seth Rollins, Punk and Roman, and then of course Oba and Brock. And then while we're here, I'll clip this a little bit later and then get this out there. Just screenshot. Okay, gotta screenshot this so I know where NXT starts. Tomorrow night on Tuesday, or I guess it's Tuesday, and you know what that means. NXT Revenge, week 1 of 2. Tony D'Angelo will defend his newly won NXT Championship against All Ego Ethan Page, who is reportedly in store for and in the line for a main roster call-up. Lola Vice will put her newly won NXT Women's Championship on the line as she faces JC Jane in a rematch. And then Jada Parker versus Kalani Jordan will go one more time, and Joe Hendry will have a concert and will reportedly talk about his future in I'm guessing his future in NXT at this point, because why would he not be ready for a main roster call up? He held the title for a very short amount of time, but we've seen even shorter, and then flip-flopping and going up to the main roster, coming down. It is WrestleMania season. It is the perfect time for post-WrestleMania to go into the following week and then do a draft and shake up that roster, change up the roster, and just literally go from there. And honestly, I guess I shouldn't say that, because I know what Roman is going to do with the World Heavyweight Championship whenever he wins it. As many people that don't like the draft, I love it, and I think it's a good reset. It's a good way to shake up the roster, a much-needed way. The Women's U.S. Championship, for example, Julia has hit 100 days yet again as champion and has defended the title one time, and it has been against Alexa Bliss, who's in a tag team. She's defended the title one time. She just wrestled 2 weeks ago against Tiffany Stratton, but it was a non-title match. That's almost statistically as bad as Jade, with her matches going up against BFAB, Michin, and now feuding with Rhea Ripley, when she won the title in November, as did Stephanie Vaquer. She won in October and has only defended it twice. The last time she defended it was at Survivor Series. That was in November. On a PLE, I should say. On a PLE, she last defended it there on a PLE. Julia, meanwhile, again, only defended it once, and is not even on the WrestleMania card to defend that title there. Never should have been taken off Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green should still be the U.S. champion. Tiffany Stratton might necessarily not need the title, because she's kind of been off TV and then came back, and then has been off for quite a bit of time, even though she just came back and got a match against the U.S. champion. I think Julia was able to win. Yeah, the U.S. title picture is a mess. They need to figure it out and get someone to hold it that can actually make it mean something, like the Women's Intercontinental Championship does, thanks to Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria, won it number 1 and 2. I think if Bayley and Lyra don't win the tag titles at Mania, they should then be split. One on Raw. Bayley should go to SmackDown and be in the front seat to win that Women's United States Championship, and she will make that sucker mean something. And I can see her doing really well with the Women's United States Open Challenge, started by Bayley. Someone like Bayley, someone in the front runner of the division, a veteran of the division, 1/4 of the 4 horsewomen, and everything else in between there, that her accolades scream the fact that she is ready and she could be the one to do that. But if Lyra and Bayley were to win, you could substitute that and you could have Alexa turn on Charlotte, and then Charlotte stay on SmackDown, Alexa go to Raw and feud with Liv, because Alexa and Liv, money. And that is, of course, after Liv is successful and beats Stephanie. You could put Stephanie on SmackDown after that. That's how I would do the draft. I was thinking you might switch the titles, send Roman to SmackDown and just switch the titles, him and Cody. But I mean, if Roman's getting that title back, the WWE title back, he needs to win it, and he needs to win it from Cody. He's never gotten his rematch against Cody. He's never even gotten a title shot again since he lost at WrestleMania 40. And the fact that he has not gotten that rematch against Cody is absolutely insane. And I think what they'll do is, I could see Cody retaining just based on the posters that they've released for the Raw after WrestleMania. I guess they didn't really release the SmackDown one for SmackDown after WrestleMania. Man, they were really smart in how they did that. They were really, really smart, because the Raw after WrestleMania graphic looks a little different than what it usually does, and because it's in the T-Mobile Arena, it's the same place as the SmackDown before WrestleMania. They've switched that one as well, and they have Cody front and center. They have Roman front and center on the Raw one, which is a fairly obvious dead giveaway that Roman is going to win that title and be the face of Monday Night Raw yet again. And then same thing with Cody if they keep the posters going. Because I don't know where the SmackDown after Mania would be held at. One thing I do know is that we will be getting the Andre the Giant Battle Royal on Friday on SmackDown from the T-Mobile Arena. My big-time, heavy favorite pick to win is Royce Keys. He did great in his debut match. I think we're likely to see him win and then be heavily favored on Friday nights going forward. The SmackDown after WrestleMania is in Fort Worth, Texas at the Dickies Arena. That is April 24th, and that is still the old style poster of SmackDown, so they have not changed that one. I'm guessing for the reason of what I was saying, that it would be a dead giveaway, similar to what the Raw one is, but I hope they do things and after WrestleMania. The Raw after Mania feels like a Raw after Mania. I hope the SmackDown feels like a big deal. I do believe the MFTs and the Wyatts are set for an 8-man tag match. The SmackDown before WrestleMania. So that would be the Andre the Battle Royal, the 8-man tag match. I'm shocked, but not really shocked. The tag titles, neither tag titles for the men's side, are going to be defended at WrestleMania. I still think they're going to add Tiffany and Julia, or Julia versus however many other people they want to add to the women's title match. You could do a gauntlet match and have surprise entrants. But then again, that still would not be enough to make anybody care about that title that has not been defended more than once in 100 days. So, and why was she champion again? Why did they take it off of Chelsea to put it on Julia, just to take it off of Julia to put it back on Chelsea, and then for Julia to then win it again and hold it for 100 days and never touch it, never defend it, never nothing? Same with Jade. Jade's title reign has run its course. She has the look, she has the style, but it's clear they just don't have any plans for her to actually wrestle and defend her title, because when she does wrestle, it's non-title matches. And the last 7 matches that she's wrestled in has been against her group now, Michin and BFAB, which is insane. But I hope that they do a draft. I think it would be fitting if they were to do a draft, because the week after WrestleMania is the week of the NFL draft, and I know they've done that. They've tied it together a couple years ago where they did that, and it was a lot of fun to do this, to speculate and see who's going to go where, and they did that to really tie into the NFL draft and everything. But it would help out so much. And then if they would actually keep the brand split and keep the draft set and the rosters do not move until the following year. They could also do the draft and then just have them go into effect after Backlash like they did 2 years ago. And speaking of Backlash, that's going to be 2 weeks away after WrestleMania. And, like, they stretch out these builds for so long, and then they get to WrestleMania, they wait till the last 2 weeks to really ramp it up, and then it's a good build, it's good feud, it adds to that feel, the big fight feel, and then you turn around, you have WrestleMania, you have the Fallout shows, the Raw after, the SmackDown after, the Fallout, whatever, and then you start immediately building to Backlash 2 weeks away. And then you start your summer tour going towards Clash in Italy, going towards then SummerSlam being the next big one. It's just insane. It really, really is just insane. So hopefully we get something that makes it worthwhile this weekend for WrestleMania, for Raw tonight. I hope it's better than it was and has been. But that is Raw. NXT is tomorrow night, of course. Revenge, after their big Stand and Deliver pay-per-view that did not feel like a big deal. There's nothing about WrestleMania weekend or week and season right now that feels like it should be WrestleMania worthy. And that was very much the feel that I got last night during AEW Dynasty. The matchups were great, but it didn't have that feel of a true pay-per-view build for AEW, which is crazy because their pay-per-views never, ever, ever, ever miss. The matches were great, but it's also the same matches that we've seen on Collision and Dynamite, and last night the matches, they felt like Dynamite and Collision matches. Now, I don't know if that just means that this was a quick build from Revolution to Dynasty, because they did it within a month of each other. I don't know if it's because they've done these matches too many times on Dynamite and Collision that it just felt like, what is the point to do them again on a pay-per-view? Now, I will say, last night I was able to try out my AEW, and I will say it was flawless. So, with that being said, once again, with using Surfshark VPN from No Dirt Sheets, you can sign up for my AEW and use Surfshark VPN with my AEW to watch all AEW. And if you sign up for the yearly plan, which is $120 for the entire year, you get every pay-per-view, you get every SmackDown, every Dynamite, every Collision, and you also get Ring of Honor, pay-per-views, weekly TV, everything, and the library of everything else that I listed for $120 for the year. Now, this does mean, and this will require you to have a device that supports Surfshark VPN or a VPN in general. Personally, I have a Roku now, and they do not support any VPNs. So that would mean I would have to go and get an Apple TV device, which does support Surfshark VPN. So you would have your own standalone app for Surfshark, you would have your own standalone app for MyAEW, and you would have your own standalone app for Netflix. Turning on Surfshark VPN, giving you access to WWE products on Netflix, and then AEW products on MyAEW. That, again, still doing the research on that, and still figuring out when I can actually do that, and we'll have that set to test out and see how easy it is and everything like that. But just from the first taste of my AEW, last night was flawless. No issues, no buffering, no nothing. It worked fantastically. So more on that to come in the future, but of course, with Dynasty last night, MJF retained his world title, and there's really not much more to be said. I know Tony Khan did announce that Darby Allin will defend his title, or Darby Allin will get a shot at MJF in the world title this Wednesday on Dynamite. They are in Everett, Washington, which is where Darby Allin is from, or started, either where he's from or where he started training and first started to wrestle. So I think it's going to be funny as hell if MJF has that brutal match against Kenny Omega, in terms of like damage that he took to his neck because of Kenny's moves and doing them so much and everything like that. They could play it down that he's not 100%, being forced to defend his title. Then if he would lose that one to Darby Allin, which Darby Allin is long overdue a title run. So while it would suck to see MJF lose his title on a Dynamite and not on a pay-per-view for the big payoff and everything like that, or like at an All-In or something, if Darby Allin would win a world title on a Dynamite, it would be very fitting. But we have that to look forward to for Wednesday night, as is Willow Nightingale's TBS Challenge. TBS Championship match will be defended there on Wednesday against Khalil, I think her name is, or whoever it was that returned on Sunday night. No Mercedes return. I know that was a big one being reported out there, that Mercedes was going to return, but she did not, in fact, return. No one else, no big returns besides Kyle O'Reilly, and then Khalil, or Camille, or whoever it is. But AEW Dynasty, it didn't have that feel of a pay-per-view, and that sucks, because they usually do not miss. Not one bit do they ever miss. So again, my AEW seems to be worth it. I would heavily recommend that, if I'm being honest, and you're looking at me for some ideas on how to make streaming and getting access to everything easier. I would definitely say my AEW is worth it. Surfshark VPN is worth it, thanks to, of course, no dirt sheets. That's how we get ours. But that is Dynasty review. There was not really much else to really write home about. It was not that exciting. I know Tony Khan, I'm sure, just absolutely fluffed it up like no one else's business for Dynasty and how he saw it. And I'm sure the numbers and the AEW hardcore fans will say, oh, the 500,000 on 0 Hour alone, and this and that and whatever else. But I mean, whatever floats your boat, whatever helps you sleep at night, to continue to be an AEW diehard fan for no reason, when you can easily just have the same hype for WWE, which is another hilarious thing. I spoke about Julia hitting 100 days as champion already, and in a post I made on Threads the other day, whenever I first realized that Julia hit 100 days, because now it's 100 plus days, a lot of people were coming at me saying that it's not her fault. It's not her fault, it's the booking's fault, and she doesn't book matches, and blah, blah, blah. And everyone likes to use that excuse for champions that they don't necessarily care for or not like, but they do it just to be a smartass on a post that's simply just pointing out the fact that they're having their U.S. champion, their women's U.S. champion, defend the title one time in 100 days, regardless of who it is. This title means nothing. This title has not been held by a champion that has made it mean something in any sense of the word. The closest we had was Chelsea Green. The closest we had to it being defended on a PLE or pay-per-view was Chelsea Green when she defended it at Saturday night's main event. And that was the last time that I cared about the U.S. title, was when Chelsea Green had it. Since then, it's been defended here and there on SmackDown. It's been held by Julia, Chelsea Green, Julia, and then Chelsea Green lost it to Zelina, won it back from Zelina, lost it to Julia, won it back from Julia, and then lost it to Julia again, and then here we are with Julia as the champion. So it's insane. And again, people pick and choose when they want to use the excuse, oh, she doesn't do the booking. Oh well, neither does Jade. But you're gonna sit there and say neither for that point matter. Neither does Roman. Roman doesn't do the booking. Roman has a big fight feel whenever he holds a title. Roman puts meaning into a title when Roman holds a title. Julia does not. Chelsea Green does. Not a big fight feel for it, but it's comedic whenever she's told to defend the title, and she still goes out there and puts on a banger of a match. But if she's not wrestling or defending the title, she's still on TV with the title. Julia felt like she was off TV for 3 months before she finally popped back up with Kiana James, and then they were inserted into the tag title picture for a week or two. They lost a match, they won a match, they lost another match, and then they were, boom, off TV again. Some manager that she is, if she's going to be a manager but also wrestle, make that make sense. Oh, wait, you can't. It's just so funny that people love to pick and choose when they can use an excuse for the wrestlers that they like, or for the wrestlers that they just don't like. For Julia, it's not her fault because she doesn't do the booking. For Jade, it's not her fault because she doesn't do the booking. She wrestles, but not in title matches. But just because they're not title matches it doesn't matter. Roman doesn't defend the title every week on Raw or SmackDown, but shows up, and that's a problem. When he does defend the title, it's a massive moment, it's a massive show, and it's a big fight feel, and it's in the main event. And that's the issue. Other hand, Jade, going up against Rhea, for the last 4 weeks, has had the only 2 people that she's faced against for the title, since she's had the title. They're now her lackeys and attacking Rhea for her. Make that make sense. Other hand, Julia shows up 1 week, disappears for 3 months, comes back, is in a tag team with Kiana, going for the tag titles, loses the U.S. title, wins it back, on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off, still can't speak to save her life on the mic, but yet has Kiana to be her manager. But again, Kiana's also a wrestler. The SmackDown division needs to be studied, and the entire women's division across both Raw and SmackDown need to be reshuffled. Everything except the women's tag titles have been top tier. And don't even get me started on Stephanie Vaquer and her title run. Winning the title in October due to circumstances outside of Naomi's control. Naomi was due and should have held that title for a while. Should have been acknowledged as the first female bloodline member with that title. And then we could have had Naomi as the women's title, the Usos as the tag titles, and Roman as the world champion. The bloodline would literally be running Raw, except this time it would have added the female member that it should have had a long, long time ago. And hell, you even could have had Jacob or Solo come over, and you could ditch the MFTs because they're going stale, with Solo being in charge and Tama Tonga wanting to get away and tweeting out 2 years with no context behind it, but also a couple weeks ago getting fined because he was posting a video before, during rehearsals or whatever it was. Tama Tonga barely ever wrestles. He just stands there and looks big, kind of like Omos. Waste of space on the roster. JC Mateo has done nothing. Tonga Loa has done nothing. They're teasing all kinds of things. Solo can't really get a grip on his MFTs. Jacob should be in the world title picture, but he's not, because he's continuing to feud with Drew for no reason. We still don't know who knocked his teeth out. Jacob or Solo coming to Raw and having the Intercontinental title alongside the new bloodline, well, really the OG bloodline, but with a twist, adding in Naomi or whatever, that would be fire. But of course, we're never going to get that because that makes too much sense. Cody never should have won the title back. It should have been Jacob, not Drew, to have the title. Randy Orton and Jacob Fatu would be absolutely phenomenal. And that's just where we're at. That's just where we're at with everything. Across the landscape of WWE and AEW, a lot of things needs to happen between now and WrestleMania weekend, and I know for a fact tonight they're going to try their best to hype it up, but they're going to fail. I'm very curious to see if they add any actual matches to the card, because still, as of right now, 5:07, we have no matches added, actual wrestling matches. And normally, I don't give a shit about these stats like this, where, AEW is 2 hours and they have a full half of their show is actual wrestling, and WWE SmackDown is 3 hours, and they also only have an hour of the actual wrestling. Okay, I don't care about that, but to that point, it would be nice to actually get and know what matches we are actually going to see on the show. It's also funny and very similar to them waiting until the very last possible minute to announce what days each match is going to be on for WrestleMania weekend. Both Saturday and Sunday. Saturdays has 7 matches. Sundays has 6. I still think they're going to add the women's U.S. title. And if they would, that would be the first ever PLE that it's defended on. That would also be, I'm sure, the first time in a very long time, if not first time ever, that all 4 main or mid-card titles will be defended at WrestleMania. It is felonious that the Intercontinental title is the only one in a ladder match. I still think that the Money in the Bank should be at WrestleMania. The Battle Royal should be at WrestleMania. They're doing this whole thing with ESPN2 and putting 2 matches on there for the first hour. I mean, you could still do a pre-show. You could have more matches for both nights, or just have it one night. You don't need to do 2 nights because they don't put enough into doing this for 2 nights. Now, I agree. 14 matches in one night is crazy, but you could just do an extended kickoff show and pre-show, and you could do the kickoff show where they talk about everything, but you also have matches, and you stream those matches live on ESPN for an hour, and then ESPN2 for an hour, and do 4 matches on the pre-show, and then have a 10-match card for the main card. It's not that difficult. They're WWE, so there's a lot that they could do to fix everything. Of course, there's a lot that they won't do, and what they're choosing to do is have Pat McAfee find his way into the mix of Randy Orton and Drew and Cody, which is great. And it's added some fuel to the fire that Cody and Randy has desperately needed. There's no doubt about that. And everyone that's complaining about Pat, you can go cry elsewhere, because if you want to bank 20 years of history between Cody and Randy is enough. We just saw this match back in July of last year. They had a singles match. They've had multiple other run-ins. They've had a couple tag team matches. We don't necessarily need it. I mean, is Randy actually going to win? God, I hope so, because Pat has made it very clear. if Randy Orton doesn't walk out of WrestleMania as a 15-time champion, we'll never see Pat ever again. And I have a hard time believing that they would insert him just to put the stipulation on him that he's going to go away forever. But also, if he's backed by Ari Emanuel, the owner and leader of TKO, him saying that he's never going to show up ever again, he could just be like, oh, I was just kidding and I'm lying. So, for the kayfabe side of things, oh no, Pat is potentially going to be off of WWE TV and it's going to be done with WWE forever if Cody wins. Other side of things, Pat can do whatever he wants because his agent is Ari Emanuel. And the other side of things, Cody, if he loses, we could finally see him crash out. If he loses because of Pat, I think there will definitely be a crash out. And then he can finally turn heel. And he's going to need to, because I know for a fact, and we all know for a fact, he's going to get booed at WrestleMania. Randy Orton's going to get cheered. If Cody wins and Randy loses, he's going to get heavily booed. When Randy does win, he's going to get cheered. Cody's going to have no choice but to crash out and finally turn heel. And he's teased it for far, far, far too long. Going back last week, saying that, or 2 weeks ago, that he hears the voices and we don't want to hear what they say. I want to hear what they say. I want to hear what they're telling him to do, because I know they're telling him to turn heel. And he mentioned about the black hair and everything else, but he doesn't know how to do it, and blah, blah, blah. That sounds like an excuse to me. And he is lazy and doesn't want to switch it up. He likes to be comfortable. And instead of doing this kissing babies and kissing ass, and the way Pat went in on him, finally, for once, someone is actually going in on him like no one else has since WrestleMania 39, when Roman hit him with, you ever won one of these? You ever been in the main event of WrestleMania? All that back then. And now he's switching it around and saying that this isn't his first main event of WrestleMania. Okay, buddy, but if you had your first because of Roman, as did CM Punk, as did Seth Rollins, as did Sami Zayn, as did Jimmy and Jey Uso. Roman Reigns is the common denominator across multiple people having their first ever WrestleMania main event. So Cody going out there and saying that he's the quarterback and he's done this and that and best ratings and this and that, that's a damn lie if I've ever heard one before. And it's getting to the point where we just need him to turn heel. That's the only way anything is going to change. That's the only way anything is going to get interesting again. That's the only way anything is going to be worth watching again, is if Cody finally turns heel. Getting away from SmackDown side of things, going to Stephanie and Liv. Their feud has been not to their fault, because apparently we can just throw that excuse around that it's not their fault. Their feud was bad. They've had limited TV time. They've done more vignettes and everything because Stephanie can't speak. So she has to do vignettes where they can put in subtitles, which is ridiculous. Then you do these run-ins and the attacks and the sneak attacks and then the call-outs and this and that. For the most part, overall, it's gotten very personal, and I think if they would actually do their promos in the ring and they would do them live, it would mean more versus just doing the vignettes and then going at each other on social media and attacking. She attacked Liv last week and put her into the monitor, and her and Roxanne hit each other in the head, and everything about the last couple of weeks with this specific feud. There's no way Liv Morgan should not walk out of WrestleMania with the Women's World Championship, and then they were teasing it before Stephanie attacked her. The question up in the air of Roxanne and the Judgment Day when they turned on Finn and kicked him out, and Finn was the one that brought Roxanne in. So it was kind of left up in the air and left open. What is Roxanne going to do? How is Roxanne feeling about what they did to Finn and this and that and everything else? So we'll have to see about that one. But eventually, I think Liv and Roxanne would be fire for that match. I think the first one we should get would be Liv and, honestly, at this point, bring up Jada Parker or someone new. Someone new to shake up the roster. You could, like I said, do Liv and Alexa. That would be a great one after Alexa turns on Charlotte. Of course, I'm guessing then we'll have to get Charlotte and Alexa at Backlash. And then you can kind of separate them and have the rosters take form after Backlash to kind of go along with that pattern. But Alexa and Liv would be great. But you don't need to run Liv and Raquel back, or Liv and Vaquer back. You don't need to do that again. If Liv wins, Liv wins. I'm sure they'll have her win by cheating in heel way, and then be the stepping stone for Vaquer to have her rematch. As they always do, as they always have and do rematches at Backlash, even though I think it's pointless to have the same match 2 weeks later, especially because I know they won't add any stipulations. And if they do add a stipulation to the Backlash match and not the WrestleMania match, they're crazy and insane. Well, I'm about 12 minutes away, and I'm almost an hour in, so this is going to be... I'm still going to go an hour, but we're almost there at softball tonight. So this is, again, episode 203 of the Sleeper Sports Media Podcast. I'm Nick Wietosh, and we are, of course, this is going up on YouTube. And we'll be live posting Monday Night Raw tonight on Threads, Facebook, both the Sleeper Sports Media page and the Tribal Reign page. No longer on Prime Covered Sports Network because they felt like the only stuff that I could do for them was not enough, considering whatever. Anyway, hopefully Dynamite this week, and then Spring Breakthrough on Wednesday and Thursday. They're doing a special show because they're not having Collision compete with WrestleMania and the Hall of Fame and all that stuff, which I think is funny. They'll compete and put their show on Thursdays, but not, the one year they moved up Collision earlier in the day. And I know that they're going to be competing as well with NHL playoffs and all that stuff too. But, I mean, seriously, why? That's another thing that IWC loves to do. They love to do it. But yes, WrestleMania 42 this weekend. I know I was going off on Liv and Vaquer and everything like that, but I have to wrap this one up here fairly soon. I'm still heading to softball, and we'll get this posted out later tonight, and do clips and everything like that. Hopefully, I can find a way to AI clip this hour-long show. But we're on the road to 6,000 subs here on YouTube, which I still can't believe. We're on about a month away from 5 years of Sleeper Sports Media here on YouTube. Another milestone that I can't believe. But we're going to be doing official WrestleMania predictions. That will be live this Thursday. We'll do that later in the afternoon, or in the evening rather, because I get home late on Thursday night. So that will be that. That's what's in store for the rest of this week. We'll have our official prediction show. Same way, shape, style, and format as all the other ones over the last 5 years. Just straight up, just the graphics and a voiceover, just like this one is. Just because I cannot do on-camera episodes, but that's okay, because eventually we will do those. So to anyone who watches, views, or listens, however you decide to consume the channel here and what we put out here on Sleeper Sports Media, I cannot thank you enough. And we have about 10 minutes left. I'm 6 minutes away from the field, with 10 minutes left until I hit that hour mark, which I'm going to do. Again, 303. I believe this is episode 303. I lose track so much, which is what it is at this point. Whatever episode I'm on. We're gonna go with 303 though. That's what episode this is. As we get closer to 6,000 subs, as we get closer to 5 full years of doing this, as we get closer to everything, and all the other milestones that we have and that we chase every single day that we do this, that we post, for Raw, for SmackDown, for NXT, for AEW, Dynamite, Collision, for everything that we post and cover. Also, the WNBA is coming back, so we're going to be getting more stuff on that out. I know the Fever making big-time moves, re-signing key pieces to their team. Lexi Hall, Sophie Cunningham, Kelsey Mitchell, all three re-signed to the Fever with the new CBA out there. They're getting paid. Thankfully, Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark are still under contract for right now. I'm sure in a couple of years, they are going to be some record-setting, massive, big-time number contracts there for those two big-time stars. And I'm excited to see who we draft. I think Friday is the draft. So I'm excited for that. And I know that I saw the numbers earlier today, and the amount of increase in salary that the number one overall pick will have this year versus the last 2 years is going to absolutely be insane, but very well deserved, and all because of Caitlin Clark and Cam Brink and Angel Reese all coming in and bringing eyes to the WNBA over the last 2 or 3 years. I know my eyes have been brought to it because of Caitlin Clark, because of Angel Reese, Cam Brink, Paige Buchers, Cade Martin, everything else. And then I've also just fallen in love with watching players like Asia Wilson and Camila Cardoso and everybody else. So very excited for the season, as well as the next 3 seasons with the expansion. We're getting 2 teams this year, and then 3 teams over the next 3 years. So that's going to be very, very fun. I hope they bring a team to Carolina that I could then go to a game or two and support those. But until they bring a team to my area, I'll be an Indiana Fever fan. I would have switched to a Philadelphia fan whenever they bring, I think, because it's Cleveland, Philly, and then Detroit are the next 3 that they'll be bringing teams to. I would have switched to Philly, but let's see, Fudd predicted to go number 1 overall. Kayla Thompson resigns with the Valkyries. That was 18 minutes ago. Kayla Thornton, Kaya Stokes before WNBA draft. Let's see, when is an hour ago, the Fever signed Maisha Hines-Allen an hour ago, so they just made another big signing. Let's see if we can find out when the actual draft is. The draft is, of course, tonight at 7 o'clock. So that is going to be going down tonight at 7. I'm going to miss that for sure. But I will do my best to get coverage out there for the WNBA this season across Sleeper Sports Media and across No Dirt Sheets for the both of us. We will be doing that and covering that the best that we can, as well as the NFL draft is coming up next week in Pittsburgh, which I'm very excited for. Very, very excited for. That's going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a lot of fun. So that a lot of exciting things going down in the world of sports, and a lot of exciting things going down on the world of Sleeper Sports Media, and we will be covering it all across the channel here. There's no doubt about that. So that's that will be about all she wrote here on this episode. I'm gonna just chatter another couple minutes because I'm about 5 minutes away from an hour, so I do want to hit that hour mark. Rory McIlroy hitting another milestone and becoming the 4th person ever to win back-to-back Masters, which is awesome for him. That was great. Some great golf was being played. It sucks that we were so close to a playoff with him and Scotty, which would have made it even more exciting, regardless of who would have won. But Rory does that again. It takes 17 years to win one, and then goes up and wins his second one back-to-back in true Rory fashion. But we will be covering a lot of things in the next coming days, upcoming months here on Sleeper Sports Media, as we always do. And of course, the NHL playoffs starting up soon. As we saw last night, the Pens faced the Caps, and we probably for the last time saw Ovechkin, Crosby, Malkin, and Letang share the ice for the final time, which is kind of insane to think about. They've been in the NHL for 20 plus years. Crosby and Ovechkin been number one, number two for far too long. And if Ovechkin really is retiring or whatever he's going to do after this year, that will be something amazing to watch. All in the same sorts. So we're about 2.5 minutes away. I don't really have anything else that I want to say. Just want to again remind everyone to thank you for watching, viewing, and subscribing. Also want to thank No Dirt Sheets for Surfshark VPN, as well as my AEW. Being able to try it out that way was awesome. And we will be doing more research to get more stats out and see what we can do and how to make things easier for watching all of the wrestling stuff that we all love to watch. So that is going to do it for episode 303, the Monday Night Raw preview, the Dynasty review, NXT look ahead, and just a look ahead in general about what we're going to cover in the upcoming days and months and everything else in between. Again, Femi, Brock Lesnar. Again, Roman Reigns, CM Punk. And again, who else? Gunther and Seth Rollins. All will be live tonight, 8/7 Central on Netflix, on the flagship on Monday Night Raw. Liv Morgan, I'm sure, will be there. Stephanie Vaquer is scheduled to appear. Rhea Ripley is scheduled to appear. Becky Lynch is scheduled to appear. Jey Uso is going to be there. And I'm sure more and more people will be there. As will this Friday night, we will see both Raw and SmackDown talent showcased in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, as we do every year since 21, when that stopped being on WrestleMania weekend and started being on just SmackDown before. So there is nothing much else to do for this episode. We will be back tomorrow with the NXT full-length preview as in our regular standard way. But until then, this is Nick Wietosh for Sleeper Sports Media for No Dirt Sheets, and you can catch live posts on Threads, Facebook, both Tribal Reign, both Sleeper Sports, and my threads, as well as my Facebook, and of course, preview articles, review articles, all as always coming on NoDirtSheets.com. You can support both channels by Surfshark VPN. Down below, Walmart Creator, Content 360. Sign up for that, $67 one-time payment. Then you have free access for life to cross-post to multiple pages with that. So with that being said, thank you for watching, viewing, and subscribing. I'm Nick Wietosh, and here we go.